In January 2014, the Office of the Auditor General released a Compendium Report on Information Technology. To read the full report, please visit our website at www.bcauditor.com. The following presentation provides a summary of the report. As the nonpartisan independent auditor of the Legislative Assembly, the Auditor General audits the government reporting entity. This consists of ministries, crown corporations, and other government organizations such as universities, colleges, school districts, health authorities, and similar organizations that are controlled by or accountable to the provincial government. The Office of the Auditor General serves the people of British Columbia and their elected representatives by conducting independent audits and advising on how well government is managing its responsibilities and resources. Under the Auditor General Act, the Auditor General conducts and reports on both financial audits and performance or value for money audits. 3 separate pieces of work are found in this Compendium Report. The first report is an overview of the BC government's capital spending in information technology. The second report is the status of general information technology controls in the Government of British Columbia. The third report is a web application security audit. The first report, an overview of the BC government's capital spending in information technology, reveals how investing in IT is an essential part of the Government of British Columbia's fiscal plan. About $500 million has been spent annually on information technology infrastructure and systems since 2008-09. Large multi-year IT projects in recent years include the eHealth Initiative, the Integrated Case Management System, and the Gaming Management System. These projects are summarized on pages 8 through 9 of the report. Instead of developing IT systems in a traditional way through capital spending, government could undertake joint solutions with the private sector. The Ministry of Education's current procurement of a student information service for all students in kindergarten through grade 12 to replace the existing British Columbia Enterprise Student Information System is an example of this joint solution arrangement. In the case of procuring the new student information services, the vendor would provide, maintain, and operate the platform that runs the new system. With this approach, government would not own the software license or require upfront capital investment for the implementation of the system. Instead, the system would be financed through the ministry's annual operating budget for the term of the vendor contract. Government has invested a significant amount of public money in large IT system projects in recent years. This is an important area where our office plans to focus in our future work. The second report in the compendium is the status of general information technology controls in the Government of British Columbia. Information technology is critical to delivering key government services such as healthcare and education, and in processing billions of dollars in transactions each year. This involves handling sensitive information that impacts the daily lives of British Columbians. British Columbians expect government to have controls in place to ensure the sensitive information that they collect is protected, transactions are processed correctly, and systems are free from lengthy interruption. In other words, that government services are available when they need them. General IT or computer controls help ensure proper development and implementation of systems and help maintain the integrity of systems, data, and operations. This report informs British Columbians about the health of government's general IT controls. The purpose of this project was to determine the health of general IT controls expressed in terms of a maturity level that each entity in the BC government has attained for their computing systems and IT environment, particularly regarding protecting the information they manage or confidentiality, ensuring that transactions are processed correctly or integrity, and ensuring critical government services can continue or availability. The entities covered in this project include ministries, crown corporations, universities, colleges, school districts, and health authorities. This was not an audit, and we did not provide an opinion on the fairness of the information published. However, we conducted the project in accordance with the Office's internal quality standards and processes. We asked 138 BC government entities to complete a self-assessment questionnaire adopted from the maturity model defined in the COBIT 4.1 framework, an internationally accepted framework for IT governance, management, control, and assurance. We compiled the results of the completed self-assessment forms and sent a management report to each entity showing a comparison of their results with similar entities. We also sent a copy of the report to the government's Chief Information Officer, summarizing the results by general IT controls area and type of entity. We focused on 9 general IT controls areas in COBIT 4.1, which are critical to maintaining confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information and systems. Number 1, assessing and managing IT risks, analyzing and communicating IT risks and their potential impact on business processes and goals. Number 2, managing changes, responding to business requirements in alignment with the business strategy while reducing solution and service delivery defects and rework. Number 3, installing and accrediting solutions and changes, implementing new or changed systems that work without major problems after installation. Number 4, managing third-party services, providing satisfactory third-party services while being transparent about benefits, costs, and risks. Number 5, ensuring continuous service, ensuring minimal business impact in the event of an IT service interruption. Number 6, ensuring systems security, maintaining the integrity of information and processing infrastructure and minimizing the impact of security vulnerabilities and incidents. Number 7, managing the physical environment, protecting computer assets and business data and minimizing the risk of business disruption. Number 8, managing operations, managing data integrity and ensuring that IT infrastructure can resist and recover from errors and failures. And number 9, monitoring and evaluating IT performance, transparency and understanding of IT cost, benefits, strategy, policies, and service levels in accordance with governance requirements. This is Exhibit 2 from the report. It shows the number of entities that assess themselves at each level per general IT control area. Overall, we observed that the average maturity rating for all 9 general IT control areas is 2.9. The average maturity levels between 2.2 and 2.9 were assessed for IT control areas such as assessing and managing IT risks, managing changes, ensuring continuous service, ensuring system security, and monitoring and evaluating IT performance. The average maturity levels between 3 and 3.4 were assessed for IT control areas such as installing and accrediting solutions and changes, managing third-party services, managing physical environment, and managing operations. Each year, our office, along with a number of private accounting firms, audits the financial statements of every entity in the provincial government. It is the largest financial audit in BC. At the end of these financial statements audits, internal control weaknesses, including general IT controls, are communicated in a management letter to each government entity through senior management, boards, and audit committees. We analyzed the IT-related findings from audits of financial statements and compared them with results from self-assessments. The analysis indicated that 70% of the IT-related findings relate to ensuring systems security. This is consistent with the results of the self-assessments in Exhibit 2, which show the same general IT control area has a below-average maturity rating of 2.8. These findings pertain to weaknesses in access control and password management, lack of a documented security policy, and lack of separation of duties for IT staff or users' functions. Ensuring systems security is the focus of assessing general IT controls in financial statement audits, particularly security of data and integrity of financial information. 30% of the IT-related findings pertain to general IT control areas, such as managing changes, managing third-party services, ensuring continuous services, and others. Given our knowledge of the structure and complexity of certain entities from our annual financial and IT audit work, we noted that certain government entities likely rated themselves too high or too low in certain areas. We plan to conduct further work in this area. We encourage each entity to take the 6 steps shown here and in the report. We also encourage the Office of the Chief Information Officer to continue assisting government entities in achieving and/or improving the maturity levels for their general IT controls. We look forward to conducting this assessment project annually to keep British Columbians informed about the health of government's IT controls. The information in this report will serve as a foundation for our work in succeeding years. Starting fiscal year 2014, we will selectively review and validate completed self-assessment questionnaires. This will involve examining supporting documents and processes to corroborate the self-assessed maturity levels. This report is the 3rd and final report in the Information Technology Compendium Report released January 2014. The Government of British Columbia uses its websites to interact with its citizens, provide program information, and offer online services. Online services include, but are not limited to, applying for medical service plan, social assistance, permits and licenses, legal services, and completing a land title search and researching property assessments. There are 2 important components of a modern website. Number 1, web applications, and number 2, web browsers. Web applications are programs embedded in a website designed to perform specific tasks. A website is an environment that allows customization through a diverse range of web applications, such as webmail, a search function, registration forms, and shopping carts. Because web applications can capture confidential and sensitive user information, it is imperative that government have appropriate security measures to protect web applications from cybersecurity threats. The purpose of this audit was to determine whether government is effectively managing and securing public-facing web applications from cybersecurity threats. We assessed whether the Office of the Chief Information Officer, the OCIO, has effectively ensured that government's websites are developed in accordance with leading web application security practices, effectively evaluated reported security threats and incidents in a timely manner to continuously improve website security, and ensured that ministries have minimized web application vulnerabilities against cybersecurity threats. This audit focused on the overall governance function of the OCIO and, to some extent, the operational relationships between the OCIO and ministries. The Government of British Columbia has approximately 1,500 web applications, of which 437 are public-facing. We scanned 80 of the public-facing web applications, which was approximately 20% of them. We carried out our work between September 2012 and July 2013. We conducted this audit in accordance with the assurance standards recommended by the Canadian Institute of Chartered Accountants. We used traditional audit techniques for assessing the overall IT governance and management areas. We selected public-facing web applications hosted within the government network that were identified as business and mission critical, had a high or moderate impact to the health, safety, security, or economic well-being of British Columbians, and had a high or moderate impact of disruption to a department's service levels, contractual obligations with third parties, responsibility to obey the law, regulatory obligations and duties to other government departments, levels of government, and foreign governments. The OCIO developed and implemented policies and standards for the development of web applications in late 2012. Of the 80 public-facing web applications scanned, 56% had one or more critical, high, or medium vulnerabilities. We determined that public-facing web applications are not adequately protected from cybersecurity threats. These vulnerabilities could allow cybercriminals to access confidential information or cause malicious activity. There is also a high risk for loss of confidential information and service availability. Although the OCIO has taken some actions in addressing the security of web applications, they are not sufficient to protect web applications from cybersecurity threats. We provided many recommendations to specific ministries to correct vulnerabilities noted in our website scanning. We also made 4 recommendations to the OCIO to, number 1, incorporate a compliance review of web application development policies and standards as part of its annual review of ministry's self-assessments. Number 2, establish a process to ensure the accuracy and completeness of its web applications master inventory list. Number 3, work with ministries to facilitate regular vulnerability scans for all public-facing web applications. And number 4, establish a formal process to promptly investigate and follow up on results of vulnerability scans for all public-facing web applications. This concludes our summary of the IT Compendium Report. To read this report and our other publications, or for more information about our office, please visit our website at www.bcauditor.com. The Office of the Auditor General encourages your feedback on this report, as well as your suggestions for further audits. We look forward to hearing from you.